Mrs. Harlow ran the boarding house at 34 Ash Street, a place that seemed perpetually gray, even in sunlight. When Marcus moved in, she pointed to the strange machine in her office, a bulky brass and wire device with two large reels. "I keep things peaceful here, Mr. Cole," she said, her voice a papery whisper. "The Somnoscriptor helps. It records the dreams." Marcus, a man who valued concrete and steel, offered a polite smile. "Records them? Like a VCR?" "Of a sort," she said, not smiling back. "It just tidies them up." He thought it was a charming eccentricity. He stopped thinking that 3 days later. It began subtly. Mrs. Peters, in room 2, woke up convinced she was drowning. Her bedsheets were mysteriously soaked in salt water. Mr. Jensen, in room 4, dreamt of a house fire and woke to find his alarm clock melted, the plastic warped as if by intense heat, though the room was cold. Mrs. Harlow was always there with a cup of tea and a soft word. "Dreams leave traces, dear. It's best to let them finish." Marcus felt a creeping dread. His own sleep was becoming heavy, filled with unfamiliar shadows and the scent of damp earth. One morning, he found a line of wet soil on his windowsill. He looked outside. The ground was dry. He started watching Mrs. Harlow. He saw her at night, not recording, but threading a new tape onto the Somnoscriptor. She would close her eyes, place her fingers on the brass plate, and hum. A low, vibrational thrum would fill the house, so faint he thought he was imagining it. Then came Lila. Lila, in room 3, was a vibrant young artist. One night, she woke the house with a scream that was choked off, as if muffled by a pillow. The next morning, she was gone. Her bags were still packed by her door, her rent paid for the month. Mrs. Harlow claimed she'd had a family emergency. "Left in a hurry," she said, already changing the sheets. Marcus felt the soil on his windowsill. He saw the melted clock. He felt Lila's absence like a missing tooth. That night, he picked the lock on the door at the end of the hall marked storage. The room was cold and smelled of ozone and dust. It was filled with shelves, floor to ceiling, holding not files, but thousands of audio reels. Each was neatly labeled in a precise, spidery script. He didn't see names. He saw titles: The Drowning, The Fire, The Long Fall, The Empty Face, and then a small spool tossed in a corner, labeled Lila, The Box. His hands trembled as he threaded it onto a dusty playback machine. He pressed play, first static, then a low, soft humming sound. It was Mrs. Harlow's voice. "So dark in here," she whispered. "The lid is heavy, so heavy, you can't breathe. The air is going. You have to scratch. Scratch at the wood. No one can hear you. Finish the dream, Lila. Finish it." The tape clicked off. He understood. She wasn't recording dreams. She was projecting them. These weren't archives. They were scripts. He slammed the door open and ran down the stairs. He found her in the dining room. The other tenants were there. Mrs. Peters, Mr. Jensen, and 2 others, sitting bolt upright at the table. Their eyes were wide, glassy, and vacant. In the center of the table sat the Somnoscriptor, its reels turning slowly, its low thrum filling the room. Mrs. Harlow sat at the head of the table, her eyes closed, fingers tracing the wood grain. "You're killing them," Marcus whispered, his voice shaking. Her eyes snapped open, clear and terribly calm. "Oh no, Mr. Cole, I'm sharing. I have such bad dreams. It's too much for one person to hold." She nodded to the empty chair beside her. "I was just preparing your room. A new story. The Long Fall." Marcus looked at the tenants, their mouths slack, their chests barely rising. They were trapped. He realized Lila wasn't just gone. She was finished. "I don't record dreams," Mrs. Harlow said, her voice dropping into the same hypnotic cadence from the tape. "I just need someone else to have them for me." As the hum deepened, Marcus felt his legs grow heavy, the floor seeming to drop away beneath him. He grabbed the nearest thing, a heavy porcelain teapot, and brought it down with all his strength onto the Somnoscriptor. The machine exploded in a shower of sparks and shredded tape. The thrumming stopped. The tenants collapsed, gasping, pupils shrinking, screaming as they woke from a nightmare they couldn't remember. Mrs. Peters clutched her heart. Mr. Jensen fell from his chair. The lights in the house flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. When the police arrived, summoned by Marcus's frantic call, they found a scene of mass hysteria. The tenants were huddled in the drawing room, wrapped in blankets, speaking incoherently of fires, and drowning, and being buried alive. The storage room was empty. Every tape, every spool was gone. Of Mrs. Harlow there was no trace, just a lingering smell of ozone and damp earth. The police ruled it mass hypnosis, a collective delusion. But Marcus, and everyone else who left 34 Ash Street, never truly slept soundly again. They knew she was still out there, and new neighbors would sometimes report a faint electric hum coming from the empty house, a sound like a machine, waiting to be threaded.